Good day, everyone. And our topic for today is psychological perspective. Tapos na tayo sa philosophical, sociological, and anthropological perspectives. So we'll be looking at psychological perspectives now. So let's start this discussion by this quote. No? You can alter your life by altering the state of your mind by William James. So it's about changing our point of view, okay? When everything seems to be broken, no? Parang hindi lahat na ang bagay nag-work out sa'yo, then maybe it's time to change the way we think, okay? The way we look at life, no? Para mas gumanda pa ang ating pamumuhay, no? So in psychology, it's basically the study of behavior and mental processes. So yung mga iba sabi nila psychology is about reading minds. No, it's basically it's the misconception about psychology, no? Na psychology takes a series of tests, no? Observations para masabi natin kung ano ang behavior ng isang tao o ano ang kaniyang iniisip, no? So it's not about reading minds. Now, in this chapter, we'll be looking at different perspectives, no? Humanistic, psychoanalytic, psychosocial, cognitive, moral, and modern. Now, in humanistic perspective, it's all about stressing our capacity, the capacity for personal growth, capacity to choose, freedom to choose one's own destiny, and our positive human qualities. So, hindi ito dinidikta ng ibang tao, but it's our capacity, our own capacity to look at life in a different angle if you want to, no? Na hindi natin sinusunod kung ano ang nasa majority. Alright? Now, this perspective, we'll be looking at the works of Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. Now, Abraham Maslow is the one who proposed the hierarchy of needs. Sabi niya, the self is mainly concerned with satisfying its needs. Right? So ano ba yung mga needs na sinasabi ni Maslow na ito? Ito yung mga biological, safety, social, and the like. No? So sabi niya, we need to fulfill each need. Okay? For us to reach self-actualization and even transcendence. No? So biological and physiological needs, basically it involves all our basic needs like food, shelter, clothing. Okay? And safety needs, on the other hand, is the need for physical security, to be secured. No? We work to para makaipon, no? For our financial security, and of course our health. The next to it would be our social needs, wherein sabi nga nila, no man is an island. We need other people. Okay, the need for love and belongingness. Okay, we need someone to take care of us. We need someone to look over us, to help us during our times of need. Okay, and the esteem needs is basically the need for recognition, the need for you to be recognized for your good deeds, mga nagawang magaganda, or recognition from being a good student. Okay? May mga ibang teachers na after exam, they would announce kung sinong highest sa exam and the like. No? And next to it would be our cognitive needs, the need for knowledge about the world around us. And because of curiosity, we want to learn more, no? And support nyo, no? Because of the thirst of knowledge that we want to graduate. And that's the cognitive needs. Na nag-enroll kayo for this term, no? Para matapos nyo ang mga courses na gusto nyo. Alright? And the aesthetic needs is basically the need to appreciate beauty, nature, and art. And itong self-actualization is the need to understand and reach one's true potential. Ito yung kaya mong, you look at yourself na you're someone who is good enough na reach mo. Ang sa tingin mo ay you're contented with your life already. That you were able to self-actualize na your dreams, you were able to fulfill it and the like. And the transcendence is being a person who can transcend to help other people self-actualize as well. No? So the need to help others reach self-actualization. Okay? Yung reaching the potential, the true potential of an individual. No? All right, so that's it for Maslow. Now, let's take a look at Rogers. No? So Carl Rogers, sabi niya, self emerges through the individual's experiences with the world. Okay? As we grow up, no? The more we learn about the environment that we live in. And he said our self is consisting of self-perceptions and values. All right? So how do you perceive yourself? How do you look at yourself? Okay? So are you that someone whom you think na you're attractive? Okay? Or how do you get along with others? How good an athlete am I? I am. Mga ganun, no? So how do you perceive yourself? And of course, we attach to these perceptions our values. Okay? So when you say, you ask yourself how attractive I am, maybe I'm attractive. Okay? I'm worthy. I believe I am attractive. And I'm good in athletics. I'm good in math. I'm good in something like this and like that. No? Now, sabi niya, we cannot change. We cannot move away from what we are until we thoroughly accept what we are. Then change seems to come about almost unnoticed. It's about self-acceptance. Okay? Kung ikaw yung taong hindi mo pa rin tanggap kung sino ka, no? Hindi mo tanggap ang sarili mo, then maybe you are not moving on. You cannot, sabi nga niya, you cannot move away. Okay? You cannot change if you are unable to accept who you are. No? And he gave us, okay, two subsystems of the self. Okay, that would be our self-concept or actual self and the ideal self. And basically, the actual self are the aspects of one's being and one's experiences that are perceived in awareness by the individual. Meaning to say, it is you right now. Kung ano ka ngayon. Okay? Kung anong you are aware of it na ako ay isang estudyante ngayon. I'm studying. No? And your ideal self, you're studying what course? Or kunwari, you are aspiring to be someone like an accountant, a nurse, or a doctor in the future. Okay? So it's your view of yourself na wish mo na maging in the future. So, according to Rogers, no, if the self-concept or the actual self and the ideal self do not match, tendency is that self will be maladjusted and will experience incongruence. No. So, anong sinasabi diyan the incongruence? Kung ang actual self mo ngayon ay nag-aaral, no, ng accountancy for an example, no? Nag-aaral ka ng accountancy ngayon, but then ang gusto mo talagang course ay nursing, no? Yan yung ideal self mo. So there's an incongruence between your actual self and the ideal self. So sabi ni Rogers, there would be maladjustment when that happens. Kasi minsan may mga tao na ayaw nila yung course na kinukuha nila. Okay? But then wala silang choice kasi hindi naman sila nagpapaaral sa kanilang sarili. So, their actual self is nag-aaral ng ibang course, but then yung ideal self nila ay iba. So, sabi ni Rogers, this has to be congruent. No? Na kung ayaw mo yung course, you can shift. Or later on in life, after finishing yung course na gusto ng parents mo, then you continue with your ideal self na gusto mo talaga, kung ano yung gusto mo. Alright? Now, he also gave us 3 methods on how to develop a positive concept. That would be our unconditional positive regard, empathy, and genuineness. So basically, unconditional positive regard is from the word itself, without condition. No? So you accept, you value, and you're being positive toward another person regardless of the person's behavior. Na tanggap kita kahit ganyan ka. Okay? And one example that I could give would be the love of our parents or mothers na wala silang kondisyon. They love us, right? Minamahal nila tayo. Kahit minsan pinapagalitan tayo, but then, of course, that's part of their way of giving discipline to us. Second is empathy, right? You see, it's about listening, you understand, and you are being sensitive to the feelings of others. Of course, you also put yourself in the shoes of others na naiintindihan mo kung anong nararamdaman nila. Okay? And you look at their world from their point of view. And lastly is genuineness. Hindi ka plastic. Ikaw ay isang totoong tao. Na you are being open with your feelings and dropping your pretenses and facades. Okay? So you are being vulnerable na talagang pinapakita mo kung sino ka. Okay? Hindi ka plastic. Alright? Now, tapos na tayo dun sa humanistic. Let's work on dito sa psychoanalytic perspective, and si Sigmund Freud ang ating pag-uusapan. So Sigmund Freud is the founder of psychoanalysis, and he believes that personality is shaped by early experiences in life. Okay? Kung ano yung mga naranasan mo nung kabataan mo, then it would probably appear in your adult life. And he developed the psychosexual theory of development. Pag-uusapan natin yan mamaya. No? And he believed that adult personalities are defined by how we resolve the contradiction between these early sources of gratification. So a non-resolution of this would result to fixation. Okay, and which result to attachment to an earlier stage as well. No? Now, let's take a look at his psychosexual development. So sabi niya, meron tayong oral stage, anal, phallic latency, and genital stage. Now, in oral stage, it's all about the way we were fed during our childhood. No? So if you were someone underfed, no? Sabi niya, most probably you would develop oral passivity or oral passive. No? Now, these people would be most probably, okay, are those people na madaling maniwala, no? And they're too dependent sa ibang tao na they can't even decide on their own. Pag naman overfed, according to Freud, ito yung mga taong aggressive. Okay? They have the tendency to develop oral aggressiveness. No? Aggressive, and they want to always dominate other people. No? Now, in the anal stage, it's all about toilet training. No? Sa toilet training naman, if you have sobra naman ang pagtitrain sa'yo, no? Sabi ni Freud, you develop anal retentive. Right? So ito yung mga sinasabi natin na sobrang linis, no? Na sobrang pag dating mo sa sa kwarto nila, lahat nakaayos yan, okay, in order, and they're obsessive like about cleanliness, and sometimes they become mean and stubborn. Right? So, that part, kasi nga ayaw nilang ginagalaw ang kanilang gamit, gusto lang nilang nakikita yung gamit nilang nakaayos, no? So, talagang nagiging mean and sometimes being stubborn as well. No? And the if two lacks naman ang training, okay, and you develop what Freud calls it as the anal expulsive, no? So sa anal expulsive, it results to untidiness, okay, but they're generous as well. Now, ito yung mga taong sabi nila, no, na pagsasabihan mong linisin ang kanilang kwarto, sabihin nila, hindi na, alam ko naman kung saan ko nilalagay ang aking gamit. Mga ganon, no? And, pero ito yung mga taong ano naman, mapagbigay. Alright? Now, sa phallic stage naman, okay, sensitivity now becomes concentrated in the genitals and masturbation, okay, in both sexes. So, becomes a new source of pleasure nila yun. Alright? So, the child becomes aware of anatomical sex differences. So, alam na nila kung ano yung, kung lalaki sila or babae. Alright? So, it sets in motion the conflict between erotic attraction, resentment, rivalry, jealousy, and fear, which Freud calls it as the Oedipus complex para sa mga lalaki and Electra complex sa mga babae. Right? So, paano nila mariresolve ito na itong mga Oedipus complex and Electra complex? Okay? This is resolved through the process of identification, okay, which involves the child adopting the characteristics of the same sex parent. So, kasi nga ayaw nilang baka mamaya mapagalitan sila na meron pala silang attraction towards their father or their mother, and that's what Freud is calling as castration anxiety. No, gustong castration anxiety, natatakot ang mga lalaki na baka makastrate sila. So, what do? Ang gagawin nila is to identify themselves with their father. Na kung anong gawain ng kanilang ama, yun din ang gagawin nila. No? And the same goes with the females. No? So, they repress their feelings. Now, in the latency stage, walang masyadong nangyayari dito. There's no further psychosexual development during this stage, no? So, walang masyadong nagbago. But then it's parang it's like the intermission of development. Now, when we go to genital stage from puberty to adulthood, no? This is the last stage in Freud's psychosexual theory of personality development, and it begins in puberty. So it's a time of adolescent sexual experimentation, and the successful resolution of which is settling down in a loving one-to-one relationship with another person, especially in our 20s. You know? So we become more well-adjusted, mature, okay? And sexual instinct is directed to heterosexual pleasure. Right? So, yan yung kanyang psychosexual development. Now, we have also the provinces of the mind. Okay? It's all about the unconscious mind. Maybe you were able to learn this before, that our conscious mind is just a tip of an iceberg. Right? So, when we see this picture, no, sabi niya dyan, the small amount of mental activity we know about, that's the conscious part, and that involves our thoughts and perceptions. The subconscious, on the other hand, are the things we would be aware of if we wanted or tried to recall it. And these are like memories and stored knowledge that we have. Okay? Yan yung kasunod ng ating conscious part. The unconscious, on the other hand, okay, are the things we are unaware of and cannot become aware of, right? So this involves our instincts like sexual and aggressiveness, right? So like fears, unacceptable sexual desires, violent motives, okay? And when we look at also the id, ego, and superego, sabi niya lang, the id is part of the unconscious mind and comprises the two instincts, eros and thanatos. Eros is basically the love of life, and thanatos is about death. No? Id. Okay, pag-usapan natin tong id, ego, and superego. So, the id is about our pleasure. It's also known as our pleasure principle. No? I want it now. Yung gusto nating ma-attain agad-agad. Yung gusto nating makuha agad-agad. Ego, on the other hand, is our reality principle. No? So, I need to do a bit of planning to get it. Okay? Kung ito yung mga nasa realidad. Kung sabi ng id, gusto kong makuha ito, pero si ego sabi niya, pagplanuhan natin. Si super ego naman is our moral principle na wag mong gawin yan. Hindi yan tama. It's not acceptable in our society and things like that and like this. Right? So, id is the pleasure principle, ego is the reality principle, and superego is the moral principle. Now, tapos na tayo dun sa kay Freud. Now, let's go to Erik Erikson, Psychosocial Perspective. Since kay Freud, nag-end lang siya sa puberty, si Erikson, tinuloy niya hanggang sa old age. No? So, Erikson, sabi niya, the self is largely shaped by society. Malaki ang ambag ng society sa development ng ating sarili. And na-discuss na din natin noon, okay, sa sociological perspective na ang laki ng impact ng society when it comes to our self-development. Now, he is the man behind identity crisis. Okay? Bakit? Titingnan natin yan mamaya. And he developed the 8 psychosocial stages. So, ano ba yung mga ito? So, yan. Okay. Psychosocial stages or development. So, we have the developmental crisis, the developmental period kung anong ilang taon, okay? And anong nangyayari kung successful ang dealing ng mga crisis na ito at kung anong mangyayari kung unsuccessful. Pero tingnan natin ang medyo marami kasi medyo wordy. So tingnan natin dito. Now, the first stage is the trust versus mistrust, and that's during infancy. And sabi ni Erikson, there are also virtues that are that will develop, okay, if we will be able to deal with the crisis successfully. And on this part, it's hope, okay. So this stage is all about fulfilling needs, okay. The baby needs to trust the world around them to take care of their needs. If they are hungry, they need to develop trust that they will be fed. If they are not fed or their diaper is left dirty, they may develop a mistrust in the outside world. So ito ang sinasabi na if a child is being helped by their parents, na pinapakain, tinitingnan ang kanilang mga diapers kung basa, they would develop trust. Pero pag hindi, yan yung part na magiging baka paglaki ng isang bata, no? Hindi sila yung taong madaling maniwala sa ibang tao. Right? Secondly is the autonomy versus shame and doubt. And the virtue that will develop here is will. Now, autonomy means being your own boss. Okay. Toddler tries to control their own bodies by toilet training and their environment by always saying no. Okay? Ito yung nakakainis minsan, no? Sa mga bata. That kahit sabihin mo, tulungan mo sila, ayaw nila. Alright? No, I can do it on my own. Alright? Sasabihin nila sa'yo yan. Pero, pag minsan, okay, dahil sa kakano nila, no, sometimes they do poopy on their pants or get yelled at by their parents, causing shame and doubt in their own abilities. So, yun naman ang madedevelop pag hindi natin sila hinayaang maging independent. The third stage would be the initiative versus guilt. And this is already during preschool age. No? Now, the keyword here changes, no, from no to why. Right? So in this stage, children want to understand the world and they ask too much questions. Okay? Kahit ano dyan, out of the blue, magtatanong lang sila. Right? And if their initiative in questioning the world is encouraged, then they will feel comfortable with expressing their curiosity throughout the rest of their life. Pag hindi naman, pag sinabi natin shut up, okay, tumahimik ka dyan, dami mong tanong. Okay? And the children would develop guilt na their questioning is hindi pala maganda. So, they would avoid being inquisitive later on. Now, pangapat, yung industry versus inferiority. And this is during elementary age. Right? So, this is now the time that children would start formal education. Okay? So, minsan, mga bata nagre-raise ng hand, no? And nakakasagot ng tama. Okay? And this is the okay, kaya ko pala. No? They would feel that they are industrious, they are incompetent enough. No? Pero pag minsan, may mga bata na pag tinanong mo, nauutal, no? Tapos tatawanan pa ng mga classmates. And this would sometimes, no, impede their ability to answer questions. And then the child will feel inferior na mali, lagi na lang ako mali. No? And next is the identity versus role confusion. And this is during adolescence. Now, in adolescence, Erikson believed that teenagers' main social need is to discover his or her social identity. Okay? Kung ano ba talaga siya. Now, while searching for your identity, no, you may try out different roles like trying to fit into various social groups. Madami kang magiging kaibigan. No? Experimenting or just changing your wardrobe. Kasi yung mga group of friends mo, sila yung mga talagang K-pop lovers. No? And for you to fit in, okay, you have to be someone also na K-pop lover na susuot ka ng mga ganito ganyan. No? And for Erikson, you should be trying to find a stable sense of self now. Okay, at this time of your life. No? Or Erikson believed you may have an identity crisis later on. Okay? Baka mas mahirapan. No? Now, intimacy versus isolation. This is already during adulthood. Okay? Early adulthood. And this is already the time. No? Trying to balance career and school or self-improvement with the need to be in an intimate relationship with another person. So, ito na yung binabalance mo yung kung nag-aaral ka pa, no? And binabalance mo din kung how to have an intimate relationship with someone, or if you're working, okay? You're trying to balance your life and life in your work and the life with your partners. No? And paano pag wala naman? Wala kang mahanap. No? How much time should I spend looking for a relationship? What if I don't find anybody? Okay? What if I am all alone with the rest for the rest of my life? Kasi ano ngayon na ba? Agbabaa ka to. And you would feel the sense of isolation that you are being left out sa isang society. Okay? And middle adulthood is about parenting. Okay? And the important relationships are with children and the community. No? You parent your children, you help them grow, no? And it's also based on the idea that each adult must find a way to satisfy, support, and contribute to the next generation, right? And it is often thought as giving back, right? Now, failure to resolve this stage can lead to overextension or rejectivity, or you are being stagnant on your own stage, no? Na parang hindi ka makatulong sa iba, no? And the last stage, okay, is integrity versus despair. This is already about 60s to death, no? So the important event is reflection on and acceptance of the individual's life, right? So okay na ako. I'm fine. I think I was able to fulfill my duties as an individual to my sons, to my community, and to other people. All right. So the individual is creating meaning and the purpose of one's life and reflecting on life achievements. Okay na ako. I'm fine. All right. And failure to resolve this conflict can create feelings of disdain and despair. Ito yung sana kung nung kabataan ko pa, ginawa ko ito. Sana nung bata pa ako, ginawa ko ito. Sana si ano na lang ang pinakasalan ko. Alright? Mga desperado na ang buhay. Alright? So, that's the 8 stages of development, psychosocial development na pinopose ni Eric Erikson. Alright? Now,